Hey everybody, this is Brad from Johnson Small Engines, better known as the one-hand mechanic. If I can do it, you can too. Today we have here a Craftsman. It's a T2400, but this will work on a lot of Craftsman tractors out there and maybe even more. I'm going to show you today how to install a blade engagement cable. So on this particular model here, we don't have to take the hood off, but the blade engagement cable is here and it connects right here. So the easiest way to get into this is we're going to take off this. Now, a lot of you guys may or may not have this cover, but taking just 2 bolts off will actually move the gas tank out of our way, hopefully, and also eliminate this cover. Okay, so this bolt here is going to be a 3/8, and I'm going to show you guys all the tools at the end. There's one on the other side here. And then this will come off. And what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to slide the tank up and out of the way. Now this tank is pretty full here. Just trying to get a little bit easier access. And most of the time you can just pick these up. Now I see this emissions, they have an emissions cables connected here, and most of the time if you just twist this, it'll come off. We're gonna go ahead and pop that off. Be careful you don't squeeze too hard. I have learned that if you twist any kind of a fuel line, or this is an evap line, that if you twist them before you try to pull them off, it makes them a lot easier to come off. But what I was saying is if you don't want to press too hard on this because this can actually break. The old tractors probably don't even have that evap on it. This is a newer style. It did get out of our way for the most part, just as long as it stays there. But we have to get in here. And the cable is connected here, and this spring's got to come off here also. This here is a little bit tricky, and I want to show you. There's a little slit right here, which is where the cable will go in. But behind here, which you're not going to be able to see right at the moment, is 2 little tangs that you have to press in. And I'm going to go ahead and take this out, and I'll show you what they're all about. I'm not sure if you guys are going to be able to see this, but right where my pliers are, right here, there's a little push-in tab here. And there's one on the other side. So I'm going to go ahead, the pair of needle nose pliers, I'm going to push them in, and then you have to kind of push it out at the same time, or pull it out if you have the other hand available. I have a pair of 90-degree pliers that will help me out, and then it just pulls out like so. These pliers here, I mean, you can use a regular set of pliers, and the cable just pops out of that slot right there. Now, as we have the cable out, and you have a washer. I'm trying to give you guys some light in here. You have a washer. The spring goes below the washer, and then you have this cable that goes up top. We're going to put the new cable on top of that. All right, this spring has to come off. Just pay attention to how this is right here. I'm just going to pull this end off with a little hook. Like so. Now that washer is probably going to drop down, so be careful of that. Oops. And, or lose the spring. There's the washer. The cable will drop down. Now just pay attention. Now it went over this wire right here, so we're going to go back over that wire when we put the other one back in again. I'm holding the gas tank up a little bit with my one arm here, so we're going to let that gas tank go. Take the flashlight out. We don't need that right now. Okay, so the cable goes down below the side of the machine. This has a cover on it that we have to take off. A lot of times these covers have a large plastic push clip. This tool that you guys see me use all the time is actually made to take these clips off, and I'm just going to push it behind there. And you can use the screwdriver, whatever it takes. A lot of the times these push clips don't really go back in quite well, and I just use zip ties to put them back. That came out. That's what it looks like right there. And then this will just slide up. This locks in with these 2 tabs right here. One tab here, one tab here, and it goes into the frame right here. One here and one here. That allows us to get this cable down. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and put the mower deck all the way in the furthest down position that we can. And And I have had a couple people ask about these. I'll put these in the link in the description below. They save your knees if you're trying to kneel down on your machine if you have concrete or asphalt. So down here, you have to follow the cable, and it's actually sitting above the brake right here / clutch. So remember, it goes above it, and you follow it to the back. Now on this particular machine, they have a clip that holds it to the frame. I really like these clips. I actually get these through a John Deere part number because I like them a lot. I'm sure you can probably find these on Amazon. I'll put the part number for the John Deere clip, and maybe you can get them on Amazon. But I'll put a part number there for you on the link in the description below. It'll pop out of there. Okay, so now we have the cable down. Now, what has happened is this cable has broke right at the spring, and it all comes complete as one. Where it goes is it goes to this right here. This is the bracket, and this bracket is actually adjustable, so it'll give you a little bit of adjustment on your spring tension. It goes through there, and then it goes all the way across to this bracket here where there's a hole in it. Now, I'm gonna move this back and forth because when you push the lever for your blade engagement forward, it pulls this in, which in turn makes it tight. So that's how it operates. And with this particular model, when we go in with the spring, we can actually just have the spring come up through that hole. A lot of times the springs go down through the hole, but as long as it's not interfering with something above it or something below it, you should be fine either way. So we're gonna go ahead and take the old cable out. Okay, so here is the new cable. I have had good luck with some of the aftermarket cables. I usually try to do a little research first. You can always go with the original from Husqvarna, makes that machine. I'll put the part number in the link in the description below, and I might put it up on the screen here for you, just so you have the part number for this. But obviously you need to look up the part through your model number of your machine to make sure you're getting the correct length. You just can't assume that this is going to fit your machine. But what I do is once I get the old and new one together, and just before I put it all back together again, I just want to make sure that it's exactly what it is. All right. Everything looks perfectly identical, which is good. Go underneath your mower deck belt, and then you have to go underneath your blade brake. Okay, so you can either go from the top or the bottom, but there's a hole in the bracket. And I'm going to see if I can just go in from the top. It may or may not go. Nope. Oh, there it is. Now I'm stuck. All right, well that didn't work. It's a good try from the bottom up, just like so. And just make sure you're under your brake. And we're gonna go ahead and put it has a little rubber gasket right here. I'm just gonna go ahead and put that before our bracket. There's a little slot in it for the cable, and all you have to do is push this in, and it should clip in like that. And I guess that little plastic piece of rubber, that's for if you put a clip on the other side, which this doesn't need one. Now we're going to go ahead and take this cable. I'm going to put it over the brake right here because it hangs over that. And then I'm going to come up to our bracket here, and our bracket is right here. And then you just have to push it and it'll lock it in like so. I'm gonna bring this up right here. Okay, so before you clip this in up top, you want to try to get it on your pin first. If you put it in the lock position up here, you won't have enough cable. Now you can move this around a little bit to help you out, and this pin moves up and down, so it's kind of hard to do this all at once, and you have to get that washer up in there. So I'm going to just leave that set right like that. Now the spring has a long side and a short side. So the long side is going to go on this end here with the cable end. Now the hard part here is the pin wants to go up while I'm putting this on. Okay, now I had to work my arm around to hold this pin down. A little bit tricky for me, All you gotta do is get your fingers up there and push the pin down while you have this cable on, and then your washer, and then this has to sit on the recess in there, and then you just pull the spring. Now I'm going to try to hold this on while I get my pick. Get my pick in there, and then it goes around to the hole in front here. That's how you do it. I just noticed that the pin was moving on me, so it takes a little bit to get it, but I got it. And then when you're out here, get this flashlight out of the way, you're going to go ahead and pull this up, and it's going to go right in. It locks itself in like so. I'm going to go ahead and put this gas tank. Now this is the throttle cable, and I had the throttle cable in this little slot right here, so be careful. Remember how everything is. But if you put the gas tank down on this particular model, if that throttle cable is not in that slot, it's actually crushing the cable, the throttle cable. So yeah, it's a little fine line. Actually, that's the way it came out. We're gonna put it back that way. And actually, what I think I'm gonna do is, the tank is fine, but it's still hitting this a lot. I'm gonna snip off this right here so it makes room right there. Okay, so I cut that piece off right there, and it actually has another little piece behind it down there, so there's nothing sharp, and I like that much better. Okay, so we're gonna go ahead, put this evap line back on up here. Just slide in. Okay, so we're gonna go ahead and put the cowling back on this machine. Some of you guys will have it, some of you guys will not. I always like to get the bolt started before I tighten them both up. That's just got it started there. As far as being up here where the blade engagement is, you're just gonna go ahead and engage it. And if you look down below on your mower deck, just wanna make sure that everything looks good. And the mower deck tension, the mower deck belt tension is just this spring. That's all it is. All right, and this spring is very taut right now. I don't want to have this any tighter. Looks good. Let me go back up. Remember to disengage your blade engagement cable or your machine will not start. Gonna go ahead and put the cover back on. Like I said, this cover actually has two notches in it, one here and one here. Goes down over here and slides down. And then once they're locked in, this actually looks to be in pretty good shape. You can go down and there's a big hole, everything lines up. Push it in, just make sure it doesn't fall back out again. And if it does, I use zip ties and I'll go through that hole underneath the frame and then zip tie it, and that works just fine. Either that or you can try to find those at your local, probably automotive store will have those. Everything is good to go. Let's go ahead and show you the tools that were needed today. Okay, so from left to right, the 1/4 inch ratchet I always use. You can use whatever fits on a 3/8 socket. This is the clip removal tool. I had used 3 or 4 different kinds of pliers. The needle nose 90-degree worked for me. Whatever you guys have to get that clip. And the clip on a cable right here is the one. This is a little tricky to get, but all you do is you press those 2 in and then you pull it out. Just a U-hook small pick that I use to get the spring off. A flashlight. The cable right here is a Husqvarna part number 584243501. And sometimes if you have the OEM cable, which this one was, you can find the part number actually on the cable itself. Okay, so there is the part number 584243501. But I just looked it up online through the part manufacturer. If I mentioned the flashlight. And also this knee pad, actually somebody said something in the comments a while back. I'll put that in the link in the description below. They really do save your knees when you're kneeling down on concrete or asphalt. Okay, so that pretty much sums up for how to put a blade engagement cable on a Craftsman T2400. If you guys like this video, please give it a thumbs up. Please subscribe, share my channel with your friends, and I'll catch you guys on the next one.